Okay, we're live, right? It's all good. So this is not gonna be one of those usual videos that I do. I usually add some B-rolls while I'm waking up, I add some music, transitions, some stingers, bumpers, but this is going to be video of me talking freelance. I wanna talk about something really important, especially if you're in college or in high school. This might be the most important video you'll ever see on YouTube. I want to dedicate this video to inability, or this blockage we have in our stomach and our brain. And I said especially people who are in high school and college should listen to this video, because once we finish college or high school, most people live mediocre lives. Not because they want to, but because they chose to live that life. They're unable to do something better with themselves. They mostly live in fear. That's what they do. They live in fear, and it cripples them to the point where they're unable to do some change. A lot of people want to exercise, but they never do. A lot of people want to have a better job, but they never search for a better job. Or they search and they never send a CV, because people don't want to change. Don't want change because it throws us in something we don't know. And we have this God complex. We think we should know everything before we do it. And that's why people get stuck in the same place. And I want to focus in this video on 5 key points why people get stuck in the same position, in the same life, in the same comfortable bubble their entire life. And I think once we overlook these points, and once we try to change how we view the world, how we perceive ourselves and the world, we can do a lot better in our life. The first point, which I think is one of the most important points, is the victim mentality. And I think a lot of people have the victim mentality. And here is why I think that. Because a lot of people feel powerless to affect their circumstances. They feel like the world is doing things to them. And they feel like everyone around them are doing things to them. This is giving the key to your happiness, to your mindfulness, to your mindset, to your success, to everyone around you but yourself. When you feel like a victim, there is no way you're gonna be in a better place now or in the future. Here are the typical characteristics of a victim. Victims are, well, victims. They're powerless to affect their circumstances. Victims are also quitters. If a victim tries once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times and they fail, they'll never try again. They may think that thing is not working. And victims have no control. When victims think that everyone around them has influence on them, they have no control over their own life because they are unable to change. There is no way they're gonna change when they feel like this. They may think that everything is luck, that the weather is bad, that's why they're feeling bad. They blame the government, the people around them, but they never see themselves in the mirror. And that's the typical victim mentality. This is gonna sound brutal, but if you wanna change yourself, if you wanna be in a better place, if you wanna build better habits, if you wanna be healthier, more successful, you have to acknowledge that everything that happens is your fault. Even if it's not your fault, it's still your fault, because you can change each and everything that happens in your life. You can choose the people around you. You don't have to say yes to each and everything. When you say yes to each and everything, you're still a victim. Still, people control your life, especially if you really want to say no. Once you take full control over your own life, the victim mentality is gonna disappear. The second part is about excuses. And excuses is a huge part of the victim mentality. And it's funny to say that the distance between where you're right now and where you really want to be can be measured by the number of excuses you make. Excuse is the easiest answer to all questions that you don't want to answer. And the ones I heard most are, I'm gonna start on Monday. This is my last cigarette. This is my last glass of booze. And it's never the last glass of booze. It's never the last cigarette. They never start on Monday. This is what victims do. They find an excuse to justify what's important but not urgent. And they all victims do the urgent when it's already too late. Because when obese people have clogged arteries and they threaten with a heart attack, they can start exercising, right? When the bank comes knocking on someone's door to take their house because they're in debt up to their neck, they can make money. They find ways because they're pressed down to the wall. And we shouldn't wait for the important to become urgent so we can make a swift change. If we want to stop making excuses, we should be our own worst critic. And I don't mean this that we should critic every step of the way, because you're going to be very doubtful, you're going to be afraid of doing something, because once you start to question each and every move you make, you might find yourself in a really bad place. But we should look ourselves in the mirror to find what's wrong with the things we do. When I was researching on this topic, they say that being your own self-critic is really bad for your self-image. It's not true at all. Because if you don't see these things, if you only point fingers to other people, you're never gonna change. You'll only find excuse to justify your failures. Your inner dialogue can be either a major obstacle or a huge stepping stone to your success. We have to keep on questioning ourselves, and we should ask ourselves the right questions, not the wrong questions. Don't ask yourself, why am I so unlucky? Why the weather is so shitty? Why is this happening to me? These are the wrong questions. You can't find answers to those questions. You'll only find excuse to justify and close the case. You need to ask yourself the right questions. What can I do to make this better? How can I improve myself in order to generate more revenue? What can I do right now in this moment so I can feel happier? These are the right questions we should ask ourselves. And once we seek the answers, we're gonna be in a better place, because these questions can be answered. It's all in our hand. We can take some form of action. We are the main wheel in our own life. The third is that luck has nothing to do with success. It has everything to do with how much we do in the physical reality and how we progress in life. Because once you become an expert, you can predict the problems. You don't need luck. You can predict most of the things that can go wrong, because you burn yourself once, twice, 3 times, and then you know what you should be cautious of and how to improve that. I learned my lesson when I was in college, and the professor asked, how do you think Coca-Cola got worldwide recognition even after 2 world wars? I raised my hand as a failure and a chump back then, and I said, Professor, I looked him straight in the eye, Professor, they got lucky. And he was so furious about my answer.
Luck has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with success and the connections they built and the expertise, the team.
And I was like, okay, I've learned my lesson ever since. Once I started reading self-improvement books, the luck factor came all over again. They spoke about that luck has nothing to do with success. Luck has nothing to do with this. Don't rely so much on luck. And I was like, it has to do something, right? We get awfully lot deceived by luck. On every casino I pass on the street in my country, it says the one who plays wins. And you may think it's my day today. And we all know that the house always wins, not the guest. The house, the casino always wins. Why do we place our earnings, the ones we worked so hard for, instead of investing them? We just spend them in the casino. I don't understand this human mechanic we have. I wasn't different. I was also placing so much on luck. And that's why I could never do anything meaningful. I truly believe that relying so much on luck can be a spiteful trait. Because I think his name was Andrew Whitaker. I just read the other day about this guy. He won the Powerball, $315 million. And he said he'd wish he'd torn the ticket apart because his granddaughter and his daughter died of drug overdose. When you're given so much money that you cannot handle, people jump like hyenas on you, and they can really do so much harm instead of solving your problems. And a lot of people that won the Powerball say the same thing. They wish they'd torn the ticket apart. One guy even died because he befriended a girl and she killed him and put him in a concrete wall. Can you even believe what people do for money? Don't rely so much on luck, Chen, because this is going to block you every step of the way. Believe that everything you do, every baby step, middle step, higher step, everything you do to be in a better place in the future or now, you must take some form of action. If you get lucky on the way, it's welcome. But if you don't expect it. The fourth is that a lot of people believe they should work smart, not hard. And in the beginning, especially if you're trying to change some habit, you should work extremely hard. Thomas Edison, he tried 10,000 times to invent the light bulb. He was working really smart, but really hard as well. So thank you, Thomas Edison, for inventing all these light bulbs around us. So we should definitely work hard in the beginning and smart also. We must push through these boundaries, these blockages, as I would like to call them, this feeling in the stomach and inner brain. We cannot do that smart. We must walk the path. We must pave the path. We must cut our legs walking that path. We must do everything ourselves in the beginning. It's extremely hard. When you build your base, when you form your company, when you form your standing, it's gonna get easier. Then you can start working a bit smarter and less harder. But in the beginning, don't wrap this around your head because it's not gonna work. People have so many ideas. I truly believe people have great ideas, but they never lift a finger to do anything about that. And I would really say these people are extremely smart. They can formulate this in their brain. But if they're lazy, if they're lethargic, if they scroll on the phone all day, if they watch Netflix, HBO all day, Amazon Prime, if they watch all that, nothing's gonna happen. No amount of smart is gonna do the hard work for you. The fifth and last is take action to do, because a lot of people get stuck in their brain thinking they're doing, but in reality, they don't lift a finger to do anything themselves. I remember when I was in college, I was a chump and a failure, and I was blaming each and everyone for everything I failed at. It was easier to find an excuse, to point fingers, than to see myself as a failure and a chump. Because we can almost never see reality as it is, unless we put the mirror in front of us. And when I was a failure and a chump, I read these online stories about successful people that were younger than me back then. I read that one kid, I think he was Tyler Dickman, he was starting businesses since he was 5. He was selling lemonade on the street. He was mowing lawns. He had a magic show business when he was 5, 6, 7 years old. And by the time he was 14 or 15 years old, he opened his first company. I think it was Cooltronics. He was repairing computers. And it was just about fun. And he, I think, sold the company worth $1 million. He made $1 million when he was 15 years old. And reading about this as a failure when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, it didn't make me feel any easier. Kids did it, and I couldn't lift a finger to do anything by myself. And then I bought the first self-improvement books, which were one, I think it was by Brian Tracy, another was by Robert Kiyosaki, and the third was Dale Carnegie. And these books really shifted my entire perspective on things. Because in each and every book, people did stuff they didn't think about doing. They thought about doing, but they also did. They didn't think about this all the time, like I was, and dig even deeper rut beneath them. They did stuff, and it kind of shifted my entire perspective on this. And ever since, once I feel depressed about something, once I feel unsure about some stuff, about even starting to film this video, once I start, I feel better. The point is that we are made to move physically, mentally, everything. We should move in some direction, do stuff, and our brain will always reward us once we start. Not doing cripples the very core of humanity. And I truly believe this. For me, it worked by reading self-improvement books. For you, something else might work, right? You should try it yourself. Whatever gets your ass up and going, try that. If it's some morning habit, try that. Try each and everything. Because if you don't start doing, you will always feel this inability to do anything better in your life. And it's truly sad to grow old, still feel like this, feel unfulfilled with your life. There were so many things. You had all the energy in the world to do those stuff, but now you're old, thinking, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I try this? Why didn't I go and ask this girl out? Why didn't I try this business? All you can do is lose money. All you can do is the girl is gonna say no. This is the worst that can happen. And we fear these things. This is your call to action, champ, to do stuff. Because one day you're gonna get old and you're not gonna have the energy. You're gonna have regrets. We don't wanna have that. Once again, if you like this video, champs, make sure to tap that like button below. And if you wanna see this dude more, make sure to subscribe. See you, champs, in the next video here.